Welcome to Her Subconscious Blueprint, your no BS space for subconscious healing, bold breakthroughs, and manifestations. I'm Jen Boyd, hypnotherapist, mindset coach, and your new healing hype girl. So I want to dive right in today because what I want to talk about is something that has completely changed my life, and I know it's something that has the power to change yours too. It's the idea that there is so much power in believing that everything will work out. Even when you don't know how, even when you don't know when, and even when you can't see the path yet. That belief, that inner conviction is one of the most magnetic forces that you can carry. It's the kind of faith that doesn't require evidence, the kind that doesn't demand a plan, the kind that whispers in the back of your mind. Keep going, keep trusting, keep holding the vision. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds like a nice theory, but how do you actually do that when life feels so heavy? I want you to think about this for a moment. How many times in your life have you faced something that maybe felt impossible? A breakup that you didn't think you would survive, a financial storm you thought would swallow you whole, a job loss that felt like the end of your identity, a moment when you were convinced you couldn't go on. And yet, here you are. You made it through, somehow in ways that you couldn't predict at the time. Life rearranged itself to carry you forward. And that right there is evidence that everything does, in fact, work out, even if it didn't look like it at the time, even if it came up in a different form than you expected. Here's the truth. Your subconscious mind is constantly scanning for safety. And when things feel uncertain, your subconscious usually defaults to fear, doubt, and control. But what we know from neuroscience, Bruce Lipton talks about this, is that your beliefs are like a software program, programs running your entire life. If the belief is, things never work out for me, then your subconscious literally filters reality to prove that to be true. But when you shift into everything always works out for me, you create a new energetic imprint. Suddenly, your mind starts looking for ways, opportunities, solutions, and synchronicities that line up with that exact belief. It's like tuning the dial on a radio station. Once you shift your frequency, you start picking up on the music that you were meant to hear all along. Wayne Dyer says, "You'll see it when you believe it, not the other way around." And that line gets me every time because most of us live in the backwards model of that thinking. We believe it in our dreams once we see evidence of them. But the truth is, you won't see them until you believe in them first. Belief comes before the evidence ever will. Faith comes before the breakthrough. The seed has to be planted before the bloom. Think about planting a garden. You don't dig up the soil every day to check to see if the seed is growing, do you? No, you water it, you give it sunlight, you trust that it's doing its thing under the surface. That's how belief works. When you believe it's growing, you don't stress about the fact that you can't see it yet. And this is the same with your manifestations, your goals, and your healing. You plant the belief, and then you nurture it with thoughts, words, actions, and energy that aligns with it. But I know some of you are maybe skeptical and you're thinking, Jen, that sounds nice and all, but I've been waiting a long time and nothing is sprouting. I've been watering it, I've been patient, and still nothing. And I get that. Trust me, girl, I have been there. I know what it feels like to sit in the waiting season, to feel like your prayers are bouncing off of ceilings, to feel like nothing's moving and the silence is louder than any answer that you've ever wanted. It can feel like you're doing everything right. You're showing up, you're staying faithful, you're visualizing, you're journaling, and yet nothing in the physical world seems to reflect it back. That's when the mind starts whispering, see, it's not working. You're wasting your time. That's when your subconscious wants to pull you back into fear. That's when doubt tries to take the will and convinces you that because you can't see progress, there isn't any. But here's what I want you to hear. Just because you don't see movement doesn't mean movement isn't happening. Just because you can't see the roots under the soil doesn't mean the roots aren't growing. The universe works in layers. We can't always see how it's arranging people and places and opportunities and timing behind the scenes. There are doors being built for you right now that you don't even know that you will walk through yet, that you don't even know exist. Conversations are happening, people are making decisions, pathways are being carved out in your favor. And just because you're not aware of it doesn't mean it isn't real. Think about it. When you order a package online, you don't panic every 5 minutes wondering if it's coming. You trust that it's being processed. It's on the truck. It's making its way to you. You might not see every step of the journey, but you know it's happening. And in the same way, when you've planted your beliefs, when you've declared what you desire, the universe immediately begins preparing for its arrival. It might not be visible yet, but that doesn't mean it isn't real. Waiting seasons are some of the hardest seasons. They stretch your faith. They ask you to believe when there's no evidence. They invite you to hold the vibration of trust while the unseen pieces are still coming together. And that's why belief in these moments become both the hardest and the most powerful choice you can make. Because every time you choose belief over doubt, you're strengthening your alignment. Every time you choose to say, it's happening even if I can't see it, you're watering the seed instead of digging it up. Every time you choose to trust the unseen, you're giving the universe space to deliver in ways far bigger than you could have ever forced. Now, I'm not saying this is always easy because reality is your subconscious has decades of programming telling you the complete opposite. Maybe you grew up hearing that life is hard, money doesn't grow on trees, or good things don't last. Maybe you've watched your parents struggle, or you went through losses that made you feel like you can't trust life. That's real. But here's the thing. Those old beliefs are just programs, and programs can be rewritten. That's where tools like hypnosis and visualization and affirmations and journaling come in. They're not just nice practices. They are literally rewiring your subconscious to hold a new default, a new belief. So how do you actually do it? How do you hold on to beliefs when everything in your reality shows otherwise? Well, that's what we're going to dig into on this episode. Because this isn't about just saying, oh, just think positive thoughts and everything will be fine. No, this is about rewiring your subconscious, soothing your nervous system, and aligning yourself with the universal laws that have been proven scientifically time and time again. In science, in spirituality, and in lived experiences. This has been proven. One of my favorite practices is called scripting. You take out a journal, you write it out in detail, what your life looks like when everything has worked out. You don't focus on the how or the when, you just write it as if it's already done. For example, I'm so grateful that I woke up every morning in a home that feels peaceful and abundant. I'm surrounded by opportunities. I feel supported by life. Everything always works out for me. They can be small, they don't have to be big. And when you start small, you continue with this practice. When you do this daily, your subconscious starts to adapt it as truth. And I guarantee if you try this, it will change your whole entire day. You're setting the foundation to have a great day and everything working out for you. And the more you embody it, the more you signal to your nervous system that you are safe to hold that vision. Esther Hicks always teaches that when we focus on what we don't want, we actually call in more of it. Saying things like, I don't want to be broke, or I don't want to feel stuck. That is still focusing on broke and stuck. The universe doesn't hear the word don't. It just hears the energy. So instead of saying, I don't want this, I want you to shift to, I am so excited about what's unfolding. I know everything is aligning for me. I trust the timing. That shift alone changes your vibration, and it will change your reality. And here is another tool. When the doubt creeps in, because it will, you are human. Instead of spiraling, pause and remind yourself of all of the times that things have worked out for you in the past. Think back to a time when you thought it was the end and somehow a solution showed up. Remember how many times you were sure you couldn't pay that bill, couldn't heal from that heartbreak, couldn't land that job. And yet, here you are. Those memories are proof. Anchor into them. They build a case in your subconscious that, yes, things really do work out for me, even when I didn't know how or when. The truth is, the moment you release the how and the when, you open yourself up to possibilities you never could have scripted. Life has this funny way of surprising you in directions that you never expected, but only if you're willing to loosen your grip and your control. When you try to micromanage every detail of how it's supposed to happen, you actually limit the infinite ways that the universe can deliver what you desire. One of the most powerful things you can ever practice is surrender. Release the how, release the timeline, keep holding the what and the why, and let life show you the magic of the unfolding. And let's talk about the nervous system for a second, because belief isn't just a thought, it's a felt sense. If your body doesn't feel safe, your mind will struggle to hold the faith. This is why calming practices like breath work and meditation, even just as simple as putting your hand on your heart and taking a few slow breaths, are important. They signal to your body that we're safe, we can trust. And when your body relaxes, your subconscious becomes more receptive to the new beliefs, the more empowered beliefs. Your mind is always listening to the words you speak, not just the ones you write all the time, not just once in a while, but all of the time. It doesn't filter out sarcasm. It doesn't separate jokes from truth. It simply takes what you repeat and begins to program it as reality. That means every word you speak about yourself and your life is like planting a seed in the soil of your subconscious. If you keep saying, I don't know if it's going to work out, I'm so worried, I'm stuck, guess what? Your subconscious accepts that as the script, and it will start looking for ways to prove it right. But when you choose to speak words like, everything always works out for me, life supports me, I am safe to trust, I am safe to believe, then your subconscious takes those instructions and starts working behind the scenes to align them. The repetition matters. Saying it once might not shift anything, but saying it every day, saying it in the moments when doubt is loud, saying it when your body is tense and your chest feels heavy, that's where the rewiring happens. At first, it may feel fake. You might whisper, everything works out for me, and your mind shouts back, no, it doesn't. That's normal. It just means the old programming is still strong and loud. But the more you persist, the more the new words carve out new neural pathways in your brain. Little by little, your subconscious begins to soften to the ideas. Eventually, it accepts the new belief as truth. So, make it a practice. Say it while you're brushing your teeth. Say it in the car. Say it in the shower. Say it when you're spiraling. Say it until your body feels calmer, until your breath slows down, until something inside of you whispers back, yes, this is true. Because the moment you constantly feed your mind new words, life has no choice but to rise and meet them. I want to share a quick story with you here. There was a season in my life where I had no idea how things were going to work out. Finances and my relationships felt like they were unraveling, and it felt like everything was falling apart. And I honestly couldn't see a way forward. My logical mind kept telling me to worry, to figure it out, to control everything. But something in me kept whispering, just believe. And I leaned into that whisper. Every day, I affirmed that everything was aligning, even though I had zero evidence. And you know what? Opportunities came. Doors opened. Support showed up in ways I never expected. Looking back, it wasn't the strategy that saved me. It was the belief. The belief shifted my energy, and my energy shifted my reality. When we talk about belief, I don't just mean some fluffy affirmation that you say once and you forget about it and move on with your day. I want to be real with you here. Affirmations are complete bullshit unless you actually believe them. Let me give you an example of what I mean. If you stand in front of the mirror and you say, I'm a millionaire, but deep down, you don't believe that that is even possible for you, your subconscious just rolls its eyes. It doesn't take it in. It knows you don't believe it, and so it rejects it. You can say it 1,000 times, but if there's no belief attached, it doesn't land anywhere inside of you. It's like planting a seed in concrete. Nothing is going to grow there. But now let's shift that. Instead of saying something so far from where you are that it feels fake, you say things like, I'm moving towards my financial goals with ease. I'm open to unexpected money and opportunities flowing to me. Do you feel the difference in that? The second one is believable. Your subconscious can grab onto that because it's possible. It can find evidence in this every single day. Maybe you got a discount on something. Maybe you got an upgrade. Maybe someone bought your coffee for you in the line ahead of you. Those are things I want you to notice and thank them. Those are things you can picture. You can feel and you can see what that would look like. And because you believe it, that affirmation actually starts to take root. It feels softer, more natural, and less like a lie. That's the thing about beliefs. It doesn't have to be a giant leap. You don't have to go from 0 to a millionaire overnight in your mind. Sometimes belief looks like baby steps. Sometimes it looks like reaching for the next thought up, the one that feels just a little bit more possible than the one you've been repeating. Instead of saying, I'll never get out of debt, you can say things like, I'm open to solutions that help me feel lighter financially. Instead of, I'll never find love, you can say things like, I'm learning how to attract healthy love into my life. Those are things you can believe. And once you believe them, your subconscious begins to line everything else up in your favor. So the trick isn't just saying positive words. It's saying words that feel enough for you to actually believe. That's when the shift happens. That's when your nervous system says, okay, we can accept this as safe. That's when your subconscious begins to work behind the scenes to create more proof of what you've already started believing. And let me just pause here because I want you to think of a moment in your life. Close your eyes if you can, or just imagine and think about one time when you thought it was over, when you thought there was no way out, and yet somehow it worked out. Let that memory rise up in your mind. Feel how you felt then. Remember the relief, the gratitude, the sense of, oh my God, I can breathe again. That is your evidence. That's your reminder that it's not a matter of if things will work out, but when. Here's what I've learned. Your body responds to the environment you create within your own thoughts and emotions. When you believe everything is going to work out, your body literally aligns with that frequency. Your system opens, relaxes, and shifts into a state of growth, openness, and repair. But when you live in fear and doubt, your body closes off. It goes into protection mode. And over time, that shapes not just your mind, but your health, your energy, and your capacity to create. So belief isn't just a nice idea. It's a biological command. And I've seen this in my own life. There was a time when I was so stressed and so stuck in fear that I could feel it in my body. My stomach was always in knots. My shoulders were tense. I wasn't sleeping well. And no matter how many strategies I tried, nothing was moving or working. It was because my energy was closed. I was in survival mode. But when I finally surrendered, when I chose to believe that it would work out, even though I had no evidence, something in me shifted. My body softened, my breath slowed down, and that was when opportunities began to flow. Because belief puts your body into a receptive state. And here's something else I want you to understand. Belief isn't something you wait to acquire once you see evidence. Belief is something you choose to tune into. It's like a frequency. You don't wait for the radio to play the song before you tune into the dial. You tune into the right frequency first, and then you hear the music. It's the same. You don't acquire belief once things look good. You choose belief, and then the evidence shows up. You shift your inner state, and your outer reality eventually catches up. So, how do we practice this daily? One of my favorite tools, like I said, is scripting. I mentioned it earlier, but let's go deeper. Grab a journal in the morning and write a page about your life as if everything worked out. Don't write about how stressed you are. Don't write about what's missing. Write about what's done. I'm so grateful that I'm in a home that feels peaceful and abundant. I wake up every day with energy and clarity. I'm surrounded by opportunities and support. I trust my path. That's just a short example, but write it until it feels real. And if your mind says, but that's not true yet, remind yourself, It doesn't have to be true yet. You're planting the seed, and the seed doesn't bloom the moment you plant it. Another tool I like to use is called collecting receipts. Every time something works out for you, even if it's small, write it down. Missed a flight but ended up avoiding a storm? Write it down. Needed $200 and got an unexpected refund check? Write it down. Thought a friendship was ending and it was the worst thing, but it opened space for your soulmate, your friends to show up? Write it down. Keep a list, keep a note in your phone. Because when doubt tries to creep in, you'll have pages of proof that life has always worked out before, and it will again. Let's go even deeper. One of the biggest things that blocks belief is the nervous system. Your body doesn't feel safe. Your mind will have a hard time holding faith. This is why calming your body is so important. Because when you are dysregulated, anxious, panicked, stressed, it's like your body is screaming, "We are in danger." And your mind follows that lead. But when you calm your body, you take slow breaths, when you just put your hand over your heart and whisper, "I am safe. I trust it's working out," your body relaxes. And when your body relaxes, your subconscious is more open to belief. And listen, I get it. I get that sometimes this feels completely impossible because maybe you grew up in a house where things didn't feel safe. Maybe you learned early that the rug could be pulled out from underneath you at any given time. Maybe you absorbed beliefs like life is hard or nothing ever works out for me. Why bother? Those old programs run deep. But here's the truth. A program is not permanent. It's just conditioning. And conditioning can be reconditioned. Your subconscious can be rewritten. This is where tools like hypnosis come in. Hypnosis isn't about losing control. It's about ascending the part of your mind that writes the programs. When you go into that relaxed, focused state, you can speak directly to your subconscious and give it new instructions. That's why hypnosis is so powerful for shifting belief. Because instead of just saying affirmations on the surface, you're actually updating the root program. And when the root changes, everything changes. I've worked with people who come to me convinced that life was against them. They had decades of evidence stacked up, failed businesses, broken relationship, health struggles. And within weeks and months of rewriting the subconscious program, they began to see new evidence. Suddenly, doors opened, opportunities arrived, relationships healed. Did life suddenly change? No, their belief did. And their new belief filtered reality differently. That's what makes this so powerful, because you can change your entire life by changing what you believe about it. You don't have to change the whole world. You don't have to control every outcome. You just have to change what you believe. So if you're listening to this right now and you're in a season where things feel uncertain, I want you to know this, and I want you to remember to hold the belief. You don't have to know the how. You don't have to know the when. You just have to trust that it will. And the more you practice the trust, the more evidence you will collect. And that's the beauty of this. You don't have to know the how. You don't have to know the when. Your only job is to hold the what and the why, to hold that vision, to hold that belief, and then just let the rest unfold. Let me leave you with a couple of things that you can do starting today. First, plant the seed by speaking your vision out loud. Declare it. Second, nurture it daily through journaling, affirmations, hypnosis, or visualization. Third, calm your nervous system so you can feel safe holding the belief. And finally, surrender the how and the when. and open yourself up to the magic of being surprised by life. Because here's the truth. You don't get what you want, you get what you believe. And if you believe with your whole heart that everything is always working out for you, then it will. I am so full of love and gratitude that I get to share my story with you. This is Her Subconscious Blueprint, where we don't just chase the dreams, we become them. And remember, you don't get what you want, you get who you are. So go out and be that version of her today. Much love and gratitude. I will see you next time.